Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's Advocacy Talks. And our topic today is career convergence, bridging employment, training, and academia. Now, thankfully, we have some great presenters here who are going to tell us all about what that's about in a short while. So I will pass them to you in a minute. But before I do that, I'd just like to remind everybody that this session is being recorded. So if there's anything that you'd like to listen back to, you will be able to do that. It will be uploaded onto the Vision Island YouTube channel, but also you'll be able to access it through the Vision Island website at www.vi.ie. And also, just to make you aware that it is possible to ask questions during this session using the Q&A function. So that's a bit like the chat function on a regular Teams call, but it's called Q&A. So please do feel free to put any questions into that box, and I can pose them to the presenters at the end of their presentations. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the presenters today, and we're delighted to be joined by Martina Melvan and Shane Merritt, both of whom are workplace integration and partner officers with Vision Island. Now, so first of all, I'd like to pass you to Shane, who I think is going to start their presentation. Welcome, Shane.
Awesome. Thank you kindly, Madeline. Much appreciated. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all been having a lovely Thursday. Up in the Dublin region, we're getting some great sun, so I hope that's happening for all y'all. My name is Shane Merritt, like Madeline introduced. I'm a workplace integration partner officer. As you can tell by my lovely Dublin accent, I was born and raised here. No, I'm living in Ireland 4 years, but I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts, back in the States. I am 32 years old. I'm a white male with about short brown hair and a medium red beard, and I am in a blue-ish t-shirt today with my white Vision Island background, just to give you a little picture there. So we're going to be breaking down, and Martina will introduce herself in just a bit, the Employment Training and Academia team, or otherwise known as ETA. The main thing that we're going to be going through is, first and foremost, please feel free to ask any questions, like Madeline mentioned, in the Q&A chat. It will definitely help us out. I always say the only stupid question is one that was not asked. So please fire away whatever you need, and it'll work out a heck of a lot better that way, and it will help us out with the Q&A at the end. If we are going to be answering your question, we'll let you know. That will come up later on in the presentation, just so you don't feel like we've missed you or overlooked you, just to make sure that occurs. So, Martina, if you wouldn't mind just skipping on to the next slide there, please. Alrighty, we got quite a bit of a full agenda here, but I do promise it will be entertaining. We'll do fun voices, tell stories, and all that wonderful jazz. So first and foremost, we're going to go over who we are with the ETA team. We're going to talk about the overall journey to employment, the employment pathway staff. So kind of who are the numbers of people that we have regards to each role, and I'll give kind of a brief explanation, or Martina will, about who and what that role is. We're going to go over some workplace integration, so kind of the major component of our role, what our job does, and how we assist in regards to workplace integration. And then Martina is going to do a bit of a case study. We have 3 case studies that we're going to be talking about today, all from different perspectives, background, skill levels, etc. And then we're going to talk about empowering employers for inclusivity. We're going to talk about who some of our workplace partners are. Martina and I have had a chance to do some lovely work all across the country for different businesses, educational facilities, colleges, further education and training, area partnerships, etc. And then we're going to talk about further training and development, so kind of how we move from one section to the next to continue our personal progression, whether it be into educational components. We're going to talk about the learning pathway staff, mainly consists of people over here at the NTC, the National Training Centre, here up on Whitworth Road, next to the head office up in Dublin. And then we're going to go over case studies number 2 and number 3. So again, thank you all so much for coming today. Really do appreciate it. Any questions I have, please fire them away. And I'm going to pass you on over to Martina to introduce herself and get officially started for today. So thank you all, and you're on, Martina.
Thank you very much, Shane. Hello, everybody. My name is Martina. Same as Shane, you can probably tell by my accent I'm not native Irish. I moved here in lovely Cork almost 7 years ago, but I'm originally Croatian, from Split, which is a lovely city on the Adriatic coast. And yeah, I'm happy to be here today. So Shane did the whole intro and he did a brief description of himself. So I will do that as well. So I have a semi-curly brown hair and today I'm wearing a sweater that is gray, white, and has slightly green sleeves. I don't know if it's that showing on camera, probably not really. And I have dangly earrings, but I hope you cannot hear that because my headset should hold them in place, and hazel eyes. So that's about how I look. And today I'm going to talk about the employment aspect of our ETA team. Shane will cover the learning pathways as he mentioned in the agenda. So let's hit it off. If you haven't heard about the ETA team before, that might be because we are rather a new team. So while we had our employment advisor, Dennis Daly, who's been with NCBI for years now, and he's been supporting service user. My apologies, I keep saying NCBI, but it's Vision Ireland. We changed the name and I'm still getting used to it. So Dennis Daly was with Vision Ireland for years now, and he's been supporting our service users in their pathway to employment. But he's one person and he's based in Dublin. So we recognized the need back in 2020 that more service user needs support, specifically when it comes to employment and retention. And that's when the initial idea of the employment team was started, and the employment training and academia team officially came into place in early 2022. Our mission is, in a nutshell, empowering individuals with visual impairment for success in the workforce and further education. Basically, we are here to support anybody who is either seeking employment, trying to potentially retain employment, or wants to build up on their education, whether it's a higher education, whether it's basic education. Our team covers that, and we do cover the whole Ireland. When it comes to the journey to employment, our team provides information and advice. So you can get in touch with our team just to maybe ask for something, or if you're not sure about some benefits that you can get, some supports that you might get in the work, we are here to answer those questions if we can. We can also help by providing strategies to retain your current employment. So that goes for everybody who is in employment at the moment, but maybe their eyesight is deteriorating and they need support. They maybe need additional tools so they can continue to work in their to continue to work in their employment, and they can come to us, and we have employment advisors that will support them by providing advice or maybe certain strategies that can help them continue working. We also do functional vision and assistive technology assessment. What that means is if you come to Vision Ireland for the first time, or maybe something has changed with your vision and you come to us, our dedicated team does a functional vision assessment to decide how much of your functional vision is there left and what you can do with it. And we can do an overview of assistive technologies. Maybe there are some tools that you didn't know about, but you could use them. So we would present that to you and show you the options that are out there. We also do pre-employment support. That includes preparing your CV or your cover letter and building your job seeking skills. So we have people who come to us who are already job seeking, but they just need a additional push. Maybe their CV is not that great or cover letter is not that great, so they need support with that. We help. Or if it's your first job, you might be a new job seeker, you're just starting to apply for jobs and you're not even sure how to make a CV or how to write a cover letter and where to look for jobs, especially if it's online that you're trying, online platforms that you're trying to use. So we can support you with that and help you build your CV and build your job seeking skills. Now, I already mentioned some of our staff, but I'm going to provide an overview of our employment pathway staff. So when it comes to employment, the lead of our team is Jody McGreal. She's our life cycle manager, and she's overseeing the employment and the training and the academia aspect. But when it comes to employment specifically, we have a job seeking team and the retention team. Our job seeking team is consistent of one employment advisor. That is actually Dennis Daly, who I mentioned earlier before. So he's based in Dublin, but he supports service users across Ireland. We have two workplace integration and partner officers, or for short, WIPOs. That's Shane and me. Shane is based up in Dublin, and I'm based in lovely Cork. And then we have one Ukrainian project worker who is also based in Dublin, but she's covering the whole country. So if there's any Ukrainians who have visual impairment or who are blind, they can come into Vision Ireland and they get assigned to Maria, who is supporting them if they struggle, with English language, for example. Our retention team is scattered across country, so we are covering the whole country. We have employment advisors who are based in Limerick, in Cork, in Kilkenny, and in Dublin. But they are also covering wider locations, so they travel if needed to be. They are doing workplace assessment, for example. So if you're starting a new work and there should be some changes and some adaptations made to the workplace, they can help and come out and do the assessment of the workplace. To ensure that everything is suitable for you to start to work. They can also, as I mentioned earlier, they provide advice and supports on how to keep your job if you're losing your site, or if there's any changes with your site. They can tell you about new technologies that are out there, and they can provide any type of advice that might help you in your journey. They also do functional vision assessment that I mentioned earlier on. So that's it in a nutshell about our employment pathway staff. Shane will tell you a bit more about the staff that is based in the National Training Centre in Dublin. But now a bit more about what we do from the employment aspect. So we are covering the aspect of workplace integration. That means that as a team, we are trying to create inclusive workplaces. That can be through orientation, mobility, and access, through workplace audits and tasks analysis. So these are things our employment advisors or our orientation and mobility specialists are doing. We are covering accessibility and inclusion within the workplace, workplace accommodation grants, reasonable adjustments, and we can also help with advocacy and engagement. So there's a lot of bits and pieces there, but basically our team is there to ensure that not only the person who is seeking for a job or is in the workplace is supported, but we are also supporting employers. So we are doing the audit, we are talking with them, we are providing advice, we are providing awareness training if needed to ensure that they support the person in their team properly. And I'll get into that a bit more over the next few slides as well. So on the next slide here, I have empowering employers for inclusivity. So that's the aspect of where we are supporting not only our service users, but employers as well. We had in the past plenty of collaborative efforts with employers, and we provide full support through staff training, expert advice, awareness events, accessibility assessment, and ongoing guidance. So when it comes to inclusivity, we try to ensure that workplaces in Ireland are doing better. and sometimes they're not sure where to start. And that's when Shane and I, as workplace integration partner officers, jump in. For example, when we started, so Shane and I joined NCBI at approximately the same time in early 2021. And it's going to be 3 years now soon. So when we started, we didn't have really a lot of connections. Our job was to build from scratch the whole role and to connect with employers and other organizations across Ireland to ensure that we raise awareness. We raise awareness about work environments and how they can be more accessible, especially for people with visual impairment. Throughout these 3 years, we connected with different employers and different other non-profit organizations to create hopefully a change. And we can see that maybe in a best way that we have actually employers outreaching now to us. So if they have a staff member who is visually impaired, they might come in to us to ask for support or for training because they want to do better and they want to make their workplace more accessible. So it's not just raising awareness. Our team, as I mentioned, also comes in and creates a difference by providing actual assessments and advice on assistive technologies, for example. So to maybe describe how we are supporting our service users, I think that case study will provide a good example. So if I mentioned a lot of things now, but hopefully a case study will provide you with the idea of how we are supporting our service users that come to employment training and academia team. In this case, we have Richard. Richard is a made-up name for privacy reasons, so our service user is named differently, but let's call him Richard in this example. He came to us asking for support in his employment seeking. This service user was already linked with Vision Ireland in the past since 2017. But he was in the workplace and he didn't need support until August 2023 when he came to our employment advisor in Dublin to ask to support him. He had a specific area of interest when it comes to work, so he was quite interested in HR and recruitment. So he was hoping he can continue build his career path there. Some of the challenges that Richard faced was communication and job application process. So some of the job applications were inaccessible and Richard wasn't really I don't want to say paying attention, but he wouldn't follow up regularly on our emails. So we had to push a little bit that communication aspect and push him a little bit to link with us and to respond and be more proactive because that's an essential bit of our team. We are supporting people, but we do expect people to put in work as well. Because that's the way how they will get the job and keep the job. So we can support you on your way, but the biggest part of the work is you're doing yourself. And solutions here that we offered to Richard were supports with CV updates. So sometimes your CV, you think your CV looks good, or you're just not sure how to update it to sound more engaging, or how to or make it more interesting to potential employers. So we provided here support with doing CV updates, and we also provided some advice on how to do online job searches, because that can be a struggle as well. Sometimes you're not even aware which platforms are out there or which platforms are actually accessible, especially if you're using assistive technology. Some of them are horrendously inaccessible. And it can be a daunting experience to try to find work online. In this case, we supported Richard with that. We provided some new solutions. We even picked out some of the job advertisements that might be suitable and shared them with Richard. We also discussed disclosure because Richard was unsure on how to bring this up with the employer. And it is an important aspect, especially if you're going in for an interview and you're not sure how to address it. You might need assistive technology. So we had that conversation with him as well. To ensure he was on top of his job application process, we did monthly follow-ups. So basically, we were in contact regularly to ensure that Richard is actually applying for jobs, because that's the aspect as well of proactiveness there, where he needs to apply and choose when to apply. And after some months of work, our Richard got a job offer in November 2023. So it was an awarding experience overall. There were some challenges at first, but we overcame them. And the amazing part is the person landed a job. And while we did the support, the job aspect and the fact that the person got a job is it's just that Richard put the effort there. So this wouldn't happen if Richard wasn't consistent and if he didn't apply for different jobs and if he didn't go to interviews. So yes, that's the example of Richard and how we supported him in his pathway to employment. Now this is the last slide I believe that I'm going to speak about, and then Shane will take over. But this is we wanted to share with you some workplace partners that we connected with over the years. So as I mentioned, as workplace integration and partner officer, Shane and I try to connect with different organizations, different companies, and some of the employers we supported since 2021 are, for example, Pfizer, Circle K, UCC, CPL, that's a recruitment agency, Ahead, Chevron Group, AP Process, IWA or Irish Wheelchair Association, and Coaction. Now, some of these are big companies, and we did awareness training for them and live events for them to raise awareness. They also organized workplace placements for our service users. Some of them are other nonprofits like IWA or Coaction or Ahead. We don't have open doors here, but that we collaborated with them quite a lot as well in the past. So all of these organizations we supported either through organizing awareness events or linking in with them. So that's the important aspect of our job, is that we are linking in and organizing stuff together. For example, for the Open Doors initiative, we joined forces as two nonprofits and we organized job shadowing days that were taking place in 2022. It was 2 online events, and they were designed specifically to attract job seekers with different disabilities. And we organized these 2 events with, for example, Circle K and Unpost. And it was an amazing experience, but it also shows how collaboration is also important between different nonprofits, and especially for our team. We also worked closely with some other organizations. For example, in Cork, we organized 2 years in a row a job club where we received an amazing support from Cork City Partnership, who did our CV writing and cover letter writing workshop. We have a workability officer coming in to provide some support and share some insights with job club participants. So it's not just about supporting employers, it's also linking in with other nonprofits to create sustainable change, hopefully, that we'll see over the next few years. And now that's about the employment aspect. If you have any questions, drop them into the chat box, and we'll answer them once we reach the end of the presentation. But now Shane will take over and speak a little bit more about the aspect of training and further learning development. So take it over, Shane.
Awesome. Thank you kindly, Martina, and for all of that. So what I'm going to continue on is kind of what is in the further training and development sections here. So as I mentioned earlier on, we do have the National Training Centre, or the NTC, which is in Drumcondra up here in Dublin, D9. And so it is Ireland's only training centre for individuals with a vision impairment. You've probably all also heard recently about the first kind of opening day of the Wayfinding Centre, and that will also be something down the line that the ETA will be associating with Possibility Labs, and we'll be running training and events down there. But it's a little bit more time till that's together, but it's just nice to know that that information is going to be coming across. So the center does offer different training opportunities and development of skills for meaningful employment. So there are numerous different programs that we offer. I myself work on 3 of them, so I have quite a bit of insight on all of that, and we have an amazing team. We have programs and trainings that run every single day. Some of them are in group settings, some of them are in individual one-to-ones, some are small groups, and we also do different trainings that we're kind of working on and developing as the year goes by. And we develop based on kind of needs, interest, and kind of what we notice is a gap in most common for either work, learning, or just gathering skills for acquiring personal independence, whether that be orientation and mobility, whether that be independent living skills, so on and so forth. Martina, next slide, please. So with the learning pathway staff, there are quite a number of us in regards to all of the different things that we do. So up here at the National Training Centre, we are going to be acquiring a learning practice lead for the QQI. That most recently has been Jody Morris. Jody Morris joined us back in October from Australia with quite a depth of knowledge in regards to a variety of disability services, but also mainly focusing within the orientation and mobility aspects. And she has developed some amazing online trainings with our colleague Denna, who I will talk about in just a bit. She also oversees both the QQI4 and the QQI5 program. The QQI4 is around what is called employment skills. So you work on a variety of different topics such as advocacy, you work on maths and assistive technology, communications, I cover employment supports, and all of that good stuff. And then the QQI5 is based around business and retail practice. And so that kind of has a variety of others. So we have things like our customer service, team working, health and safety, and retail and marketing, all of those materials, and quite a bit more. We do have 4 QQI tutors. So myself, again, I'm Shane Merritt. So I work with the QQI4 and the QQI5 program. Almost all of the QQI5 students that we currently have enrolled all have completed our QQI4 program and kind of have moved from one stage to the next. Dave Fitzmaurice is our other QQI tutor. He also does the level 4 and the level 5. For our other QQI tutors, we have Denna, who is also our orientation and mobility specialist. So Denna concentrates on the orientation and mobility components. So she also focuses on things like symbol cane, long cane, assistive guide. She works on just general knowledge, and she takes students out for their assessments and works on different types of walking environments or travel environments as goes by. Everything from just walking from one bus or getting to a bus stop to trains, etc., and so much more. We also have Roisin Habern, who does our maths. So she works on a variety of different things, mainly associating with XL, and then working with assistive technology on how to do additional components within maths. And we also have Mary Kennedy, who works the communications and co-teaches assistive technology with Roshni. So she also covers things like touch typing and a variety of other computer skills that will go into it. We all tend to kind of build on top of not just the QQI materials, but we also want to teach additional really kind of prerequisites to getting to that employment level. So Barry is also our assistive technology tutor. We have learner supports, and we will also very soon be acquiring the workability project officer that Martina mentioned prior. And just in a nutshell, to give you a brief idea, the workability project officer is somebody that's going to be coming in, taking a look at the programs that we have, programs that we're developing, programs that we've been delivering, and kind of going through it with us and looking at, well, how can we better these programs, or what adjustments can we make, or how can we better integrate new and upcoming education or best practices to make sure that all of our training stays on top and to the best possible level that it can be, while also maintaining a high class level of inclusion. All of our materials that we make are made fully inclusive. We have everything from large print to accessible Word documents, PDFs. We have Braille options. So we make sure that all of them are there. And we also do use a learning management system. We do use Blackboard now. It is also commonly referred to as Vision Academy. And just as a heads up, you can log on and make your own Vision Academy accounts. You can go into the Vision Ireland website, upper right-hand corner, and you can make an account and enroll yourself in some of those courses that are there. They are free to do, and they're at your own pace or self-led. So I highly recommend you take a chance and go through that on your own time. Martina, next slide, please. Right. So I'm going to talk about 2 case studies, and that's going to kind of be it for me. So we do have, again, for GDPR, we have a student named John, who is a QQI4 student. Now, initially, John was somebody that was afraid to leave their home, never went anywhere without some form of assistance or somebody else with them, never felt comfortable leaving their own home, even just going out and going for a walk from where their home was, going to the walk path was completely unknown and a very scary and intimidating concept. It was very daunting. Surprisingly, this individual has an intense grasp of the orientation and mobility skills within 6 months of working with Denna for orientation mobility and Jody Morris. They have both been kind of tag teaming and working with this individual continuously over the last 6 months. And for an individual who could not even leave their home independently, they are now going by bus and by train regularly to the NTC. And when that person had a change of route, they were able to pick it up in about a week to 2 weeks time and are completely independent and is now navigating to a variety of different places independently with a sense of confidence and pride, which has boosted their self-esteem, which has been a really fantastic thing. John also can independently escort the daughter to school and does so every single morning, which I think is its own really amazing commitment. Also been working towards acquiring computer skills. This individual does use a screen reader, so with reputation to NVDA, for those of you that know, and has been continually working on upskilling, learning all the NVDA shortcuts. For those of you that know, there are a lot of NVDA shortcuts. And making sure that they're learning all of the computer skills such as touch typing, navigating Microsoft Word and Excel, going through emails, email attachments, browsing the web, all of these different things that are a lot more daunting to approach. But when you start to get more comfortable and you get the practice in and you kind of allow yourself to understand that things were unfortunately not made accessible from the get-go, as IA Labs and Labs has made very evident that most websites are not accessible, it kind of makes it a little bit of a more approachable concept. And I always personally believe that FAIL just stands for first attempt is learning. So we always promote even if things go wrong. And even as somebody who is sighted, assisting an individual with a screen reader, even sometimes I look at it and I'm like, what is actually going on when you watch everything jump from section to section across the web page? And finally, John is actively crafting a CV and gearing up for work experience. So part of the QQI4 program is we do go over CVs, cover letters, interviews, and we do assist with acquiring work experience and getting all of that done. It's 60 hours worth of work experience. And essentially the individual is able to choose what they are interested in. And then we give them the skills and the ability to approach that organization. And then we just assist where needed, but it is really independently led that that person goes out, contacts the company, works with that company to get all this conversation started. So we assist with all of those components. Next slide, please, Martina. And then for our ICDL course, or for those that may not know, our International Computer Driving License course, which can be completed fully online. The ICDL course is also linked through Blackboard in the Vision Academy system. So again, for GDPR, we have a name of Anne here, who was an online technology learner, didn't really have kind of the strongest grasp of computer skills and touch typing and everything else. But luckily, ICDL contains all of those components and assisted with allowing this individual to work together. They were facing a business closure due to their deteriorating central vision loss and had to work quite intensively over this period. Again, a lot of things like ICDL or things through Vision Academy, like Martina mentioned with the employment components, is self-directed. You can outreach and contact and we can assist you and answer these things, but really it truly comes down to your motivation and what you want to accomplish. So we always make sure that we check in with that individual, but we also accept in all cases that it is up to the individual themselves. Luckily, Anne stayed on that very consistent and very driven mindset and got through mastered NVDA through one-to-one sessions over a span of 2 months. The sessions are about a few hours each, and that person will work directly with and kind of learn all the different navigation components, interacting with Windows products, emails, et cetera, whether that be that person utilizes Outlook or Gmail, which are our two most common. We work and make sure that that person learns that. And for those that do not know, they have their own shortcuts built in. It's kind of just uncommonly known. And then this person progressed to enroll within that ICDL course and has been progressing on and has continued to work towards maintaining that business that that person worked so hard for. One thing that I really will say about a lot of the online courses is that Blackboard, for those that are intimidated by a learning management system, is surprisingly accessible and does have additional formats that you can download materials. Now, this will include large print. It even can convert to Braille for those of you that may prefer Braille as your component or your medium to acquire this information. And that can be either printed through a Braille printer, or it can be done through a electronic or refreshable Braille display. So those things are very, very important to know, that those abilities and kind of that accessibility is being maintained to the best of our ability, and Labs has been incredibly valuable and helpful through that, which we very much do appreciate. Really, the final thing that I just want to make sure that I say to people is that enrolling within the programs is a really, really daunting thing. But we have a truly incredible team here at the NTC, not just the tutors that are incredibly welcome and inviting, and we're always willing to work and assist with people. We understand a lot of the frustrations. A lot of us have been working with service users of varying age, level, ability, vision loss, or full blindness, and screen readers and everything for quite some time. And we always want to take things head on, just like you do, but we also have an incredible community of service users and students that come here every day that are very, very welcoming and that are super supportive of whatever somebody is trying to accomplish. We have students teaching students even after course times during class. We have students assisting different levels. So we've had level 5s assisting level 4s on things, and so on and so forth. So it is not as intimidating as it may seem. If you haven't done technology in a while, or you haven't done a training in a bit, or whatever it may be, we are incredibly welcome and want to support you to the best of our ability as soon as we can. So I'm going to have Martina swap. I believe that is the final slide here. So real brief before we get into the Q&A, I just want to say thank you all so much for your time today. We always do appreciate it, especially on a Thursday afternoon. We know we're so close to the end of the workday or just the individual day, and Friday is almost grabbable. So really thank you so much. And if there are any questions or any thoughts or anything that people would like to get across, now would be the time to go about it. And thank you again.
Well, thank you so much, Shane and Martina. Sorry, Martina, I don't know, did you want to come back in there before I jump in?
No, that's fine. No worries,
sorry,
Madeleine.
I didn't want to cut you off, but it was just really to thank you both so much. I mean, I think that that was such a comprehensive presentation from you both, and it covered so much. It just really highlights how much the employment training and academia team are doing. You know, whether it be around the whole employment and the training side, but the whole focus of getting people either into their first job or maintaining a job or even moving job. I just think it's incredible, all of that work and that connection with the various companies and trying to make workplaces more inclusive to people who are blind and vision impaired. So I just think fantastic. A question people are asking is, how roughly how many people would be attending the training centre at any one time? Do you have any idea of that?
So within the training center right now, we have some people in person that come for ICDL and touch typing courses. We have the QQI4 and the QQI5. We have Audrey as well, who teaches Braille. And Audrey actually, I think, is one of the only people in the country and most of Europe actually that actually knows musical Braille notation, which is fascinating in its own thing. I just want to highlight that fact because it blew my mind as somebody that can understand level 1 Braille fluently. Music was well beyond my reach. And then we have the See My Skills program, and we have the independent living skills and those types of things. So, yeah. I mean, on any one day, because we do have people that come in every day, we do have people that come in one day a week, but really on average, we can have anywhere from like almost 15 to almost 20 to 25 people in every day. Right. That are consistently learning and going through. But we have worked really hard because we do know, like Martina mentioned prior, that one of the biggest issues we had was that the NTC is here and the whole rest of the country exists, is a lot of our courses have been adapted in some capacity, if not fully, onto the Blackboard system. And we're continuing to upload and update those programs as we go. So that's something that I can definitely highlight as well, that we are doing the best we can to make that a lodge of breath as possible to make sure that everybody in the country can get involved in training, employment, and academia.
Because I might, sorry, Madeleine, if I might jump in, because interestingly enough, that's the question I literally asked Jody Morris, who is the QQI lead at NDC. I asked her today about the number of students because I needed that number for something. And basically, there's total active enrollments is approximately at 75. And when it comes to people who are regularly coming in and using the NTC services in person, it's around 40 people a year that are dedicated to the programs. At least that's what I've been told. So
fantastic. So that's a good number of people, and the fact that there's that mix of people in person and the online, it shows that both aspects of that training are being utilized, which is great, because I know that is often the case. Everyone, there is often a cry, everything's in Dublin, what about the rest of the country? So it's great to know that there is that sort of online options available for people to be able to access the various training courses. And as you were saying earlier, I don't know, I can't remember which one of you it was, but was saying about the fact that the employment access officers, if you like, are around the country. So there are physical people that you can deal with in terms of their workplace assessments and all of that aspect, which I think is great. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many things there that you covered. It's hard to know where to I guess from
Madeline, there is a question in the Q&A from Kathleen here. Kathleen's just said, thank you so much. At one stage, should a person engage with mobility training with a degenerative condition? Is it best to engage before total sight loss? So Kathleen, what I would recommend you do is the most effective way would be to go into the Vision Ireland website and make a self-referral. The way that process will work is that you can submit the self-referral and go through. It is accessible, but if maybe your tech skills may not be up to par, I'm not sure. you can have somebody assist you. That's not a problem. When you make the self-referral, how it works is that it comes over to the person who acquires the referrals. It would bounce over to Jody McGreal, again, who is the lifecycle manager, manages the entirety of the ETA team. And then your referral would go to one of the orientation and mobility specialists. And then they would get in contact with you, set up an appointment date, and then do an assessment and all of that. And they will have the best idea of what your plan of action should be. I do know hands-on, because I've had quite a number of students and individuals that we interact and train and teach with here that do have degenerative vision, people that have gone from quite strong vision to all of a sudden very little to none at all. And sometimes people that have had degeneration, but then gotten vision back a bit and then degenerate, kind of going like a roller coaster. And they continue to work with them in regards to orientation and mobility for overall safety. So that would be my personal suggestion, and it's going to be the most effective way to get to the person that you need the fastest and get the right person for what you require for that skill set or for getting yourself prepared in any way, especially if you do have a continually degenerative eye condition.
Oh, that's really helpful, Shane. Thank you. Yeah, no, and I think it is just really important, you know, from listening to this talk to the fact that there's so many aspects that are so important when trying to think about getting back into employment training, and you know, that fundamental of the orientation and mobility. You know, if you can't get, you know, from your home to your place of employment or training, then, you know, then it's not going to work. And I know there are more options now for, you know, working from home, but at the same time, you know, so many jobs do require people to be, you know, getting to a place. So it's great that all of that is built into the training that you guys are providing. Just to say that you know, you mentioned QQI, but just to say that actually means that it's properly accredited training. So it has gone through a robust kind of recognition process in order to be QQI. Is that right?
Yes. So the QQI level 4 is done through the ETB and the CE ETB. So again, that's the employment skills program. And then the QQI level 5, which is the retail and business practice. That is a combination of SOLAS, FOSS, and the ETB. SOLAS is kind of the main approval for that approves programs for QQI level 5. We are, I believe, it may have been updated as of recent, but to my knowledge, very recently, I believe, are the only disability organization that offers a level 5 program. So that's really exciting. We are in the first year of doing it. Like I mentioned, Dave and I are the tutors for the level 5, but we have been very, very rigorous about keeping in contact with SOLAS. You know, they've never worked or done a QQI level 5, especially for individuals with disabilities in general, but especially vision impairments or blindness. And they've actually been quite receptive to everything. You know, we made all our materials fully accessible. The projects that we work on, we adapt them accordingly and we work with them. So that's what I can positively say, is that the level 4 program is on its 3rd year and going strong, and level 5 in its 1st year has been incredibly successful so far. And we really look forward to seeing how that process ends and what we will learn from it as tutors, but also what our students will take away and what they'll be able to provide the workforce and advocacy for themselves and a lot of different processes for businesses across the country, and kind of promote that anybody with the right level of dedication looking to achieve something, especially with things that most people have a unconscious bias of, especially regarding vision impairment and blindness, can still achieve that level of education and that level of work success all in one time. So that's really important for everybody here at the NTC.
Absolutely. I think that's so important to know, to say that it, you know, with the right will and the right support, it's amazing what people can achieve. And I can speak from personal experience, having, you know, I've always had a vision impairment, and I had worked in the past, but not having worked for a while. I actually came into a training centre myself and did it was the ECDL then, now the ICDL, and it was just so amazing to get that support to, you know, regain those skills again, and you know, and get back into employment. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Honestly, it's an amazing resource, and I don't know where we'd be without it. So I mean, I think very, very, very lucky. Just to sort of highlight, because it's Advocacy Talks, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, you know, the advocacy work that you do and that you enable and encourage students to do for themselves, I think is so important, you know, whether that be through self-advocacy, through the disclosure aspect at the job seeking stage, or whether that be, you know, through your work going out to companies to try to show them how capable people who are blind and vision impaired can be. So I think that is really important. That you know, I don't think we realise a lot of the time how much advocacy is going on in every type of aspect of work that we're doing. So we're very grateful to you for that as well. So is there anything else that anyone would like to add? Or I think we've covered a lot of ground there today.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll just add at the end, this will be my final say, which is when Martina and I said, you know, stay committed to whatever you're doing, especially with the job markets, we all know how it can be. Just a brief thing from my own personal story. I moved to Ireland right before COVID happened. It took me a long time to get a visa. None of my students believe me, so I've had to make proof. But in a 6 to 7 month window, I myself applied for over 600 jobs, did over 70 rounds of interviews and everything else. And eventually I got offered a few different jobs at the same time, which was unbelievable. So what I tell people is that if you are seeking to do employment, because Martina and I both work in that sector, not just the training side, which is just keep pushing. Honestly, you know, try to get out even just 2-3 a day and do it every day. Obviously, if you get burnt out, take a week or two off, but get right back on the horse again, because the more you can get out there, the more comfortable you get, the more confident you get with things. And even if you don't make it through the interviews to different things, every single thing is a learning experience, and all you're going to do is get better and better. So just really stay committed to it. You will find what you're looking for. It may take a few months, it may take a year, but that's just the way job markets work. So I just want to remind everybody, stay committed, stay focused. And if you're looking for assistance, that's also what we're here for. So that's kind of the only thing I just want to say, and make it very clear that it is possible. You just have to stay on top of yourself.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, look, as I say, looking for a job is a full-time job.
Yes.
You know, you do have to put the work in. Unfortunately, they don't just fall in your lap, which would be nice. But yes, so as you say, I reiterate that as well. Keep at it, and don't give up. Don't lose heart. There is something there for you, and at the end of the day, that it will work out. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate it. I just want to thank you for that amazing presentation, and just to remind everybody again that this will be up on maybe tomorrow and probably not today, but it will be up on our YouTube channel, the Vision Island YouTube channel under Advocacy Talks, and also you can access that through the website as well. So thank you very much, and goodbye to everybody.
Awesome. Take care, everybody. Thank you kindly for having us, Madeline.
Take care. Thank you, Madeline.
Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.